All right, everyone, welcome back to the 307 podcast. Tech Guy says that we're live. We're recording now. Whether you're here watching live on YouTube or listening later on audio, we're glad you're here. Thank you for all your support. Man, we've been doing the podcast for a long time. How long have we been doing this podcast, Blake?
Well, you've been doing it a lot longer than me, but
since 2019.
Yeah.
Good night, son.
Yeah, well, we got 300 and something episodes.
A bunch. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in yet again. This is going to be a special Q&A episode, and it's going to be brought to you by our partner at Drink HOIST. If you guys didn't know about HOIST, well, I don't know where you've been. But let me go ahead and tell you, this is some good stuff. It's made in America by good American people. It's on, first time I saw this was on a military base in a NEX, Navy exchange. You guys ever been to a Navy exchange?
Oh, I have.
Yeah. It's like a store on base, and I think everything tax-free there or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
duty-free,
tax-free or something.
No duties.
But did you know HOIST was on most military bases? Yeah, I think it's one of three hydration drinks that are approved by the military. One of three. They're really particular. But, yeah, we've been using it for a long time. I used it out at Cocodona. I've used it on multiple long races, bike packing races, and just day-to-day, man, getting out of the sauna, whatever it is. If you sweat, if you work hard, if you get after it, you got to hydrate. It's one of the most important things that you need to be doing. This is made without any preservatives. It's got everything you need in it. It's got calcium, potassium, magnesium, sodium, got a little bit of carbohydrates, about 70 calories per bottle. DrinkHoist.com. It's battlefield proven, IV level hydration. It'll keep you hydrated longer than water. Yeah, it will. It absorbs instantly and replenishes the body immediately. I believe that too because this stuff has never upset my stomach. It's clinically proven to hydrate 110% better than water. Screw water, man. Drink HOIST. That needs to be their tagline. Screw water. Drink HOIST. You'll notice it's clear, too, because it ain't got no artificial coloring in it.
You know why the carbs replenish you so fast? You know why?
Why?
Because they use dextrose. Yep. That's a single branch. Call that a monosaccharide.
Get right into you, boy.
Yep.
Get right into you.
Yep, simple sugar.
Hey, man. Get you some darn HOIST.
Screw water.
Screw water. DrinkHoist.com. You guys support the companies that support the show. Helps us out tremendously, helps them out tremendously, and they've been a great partner. This is a Q&A episode. What's the first question? What's the first question we're attacking here?
You had a job, Blake.
Corn had looked at it first, Blake. So I got some.
YM Racing. If you suspect someone is in your house when you get home, how would you clear it? Wide open, son. You ain't gonna be in my house. You ain't gonna be in my house.
So you would do dynamic clearing? You would just blow through?
I would. You ain't gonna be in my house.
You know what I might do? You know that flamethrower we got?
Yeah.
If I suspected they were in there and I thought nobody else, and nothing else was in there,
yeah,
I'll just set it ablaze.
Just burn the house?
Complex? The whole thing.
When I was policing,
take it
and
to the
you would
ground,
roll up
son.
on somebody's house who
Screw
had
water.
suspected somebody of being in there, 99 times out of 100, it was a friend or a family member that was indeed in there,
Wow.
and they knew when you pulled up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They got the drop on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, they got all kinds of cover in there. They got windows. They got the drop on you.
And in all reality, I would suggest, unless you just live way out in the boonies, if you live in town, in the city, back out and call the law. Let them clear it. If you live like where you live, or you might as well go on ahead and handle that yourself.
Well, that's a good point, Corn. It's like, unless my wife is in the house, or my kid, I don't have kids, but if I had kids, if my kids were in the house.
Sounds like you got kids.
Like, there's really nothing in my house that is worth me running into a gunfight against some, busted freaking piece of crap criminal.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not even worth it. So, Corn, you're probably right, man. If you got a family member in there, then that's different.
Yeah.
But there ain't really nothing else that's worth you. And that's the thing. Like Corn said, if you're going into a house and somebody's already up in there, unless you know what you're doing, you don't have the advantage. I mean, they know when they're probably going to know when you pull up, and they can just hard point somewhere in a corner, and they'll just smoke you, unless you know what you're doing. Now, if you know what you're doing, yeah, you can go in and wreak some havoc on people. But close quarters battle is something that you have to study for years and years and years, and it's a very dynamic situation. Like, every house is different. Do you have stairwells? What are you supposed to do in a hallway? How do you enter a room? How do you go, break the threshold of a door? There's just tons and tons and tons of stuff to think about. And if you haven't practiced and you don't know the tactics of close quarters battle, and you think you're about to walk up in the house and, well, you got a 50-50 shot, man. The joker that's in there, if he wants to hurt you, he might kill you, and you might get the drop on him. It's 50-50. It's a gamble. So I'm assuming you've never done close quarters battle, listener, or question asker. But even if you have got a little exposure to it, it's a long, long process to really understand it. So, yeah, stand outside your daggone house and call the police and let them deal with it. Unless your family's in there, then you got a 50-50 shot. You might fix the situation, or you might just screw it up even worse than it was going to be screwed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's even like, the tactics are even different. Like Corn says, storm up in there. Well, like, if you have a hostage situation, close quarters battle tactics are different than they would be if you didn't have a hostage situation. You're going to approach and clear the house in a totally different way. Everything's situation dependent. That's what I say. You ain't got enough training to freaking do that, man.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Is the training too? Blake was a police officer. I never passed the academy, maybe 2 or 3 times. Had any type of clearing training or anything in the over 5 years that I'd done it. I took a course with one of the latter responding officers to the Orlando nightclub shooter, and he said that they could have taken that shooter out quicker, but the initial responding officers wasn't sure where to even start. And the dude got up in the bathroom, and by that time he had done bunkered himself down in there. When they arrived, he hadn't made his way and bunkered into the bathroom yet. But when they got there, they just wasn't sure where to start, how to do it.
Yeah. Well, because it takes literally years of training to do it right. Like, and even if you know all the tactics, if you got somebody hunkered down in a room and they're set, like, there's nothing you can do with that other than toss a freaking grenade in there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not what y'all think it is. Like, there are even situations, no matter how well trained you are, that if a person is in the right position in a structure, you ain't gonna get to him. Like, in the Navy, you know, if you had that scenario where somebody got, like Corn said, bunkered down in a room somewhere, and they commanded, you know, the hallway, or they commanded the house, well, everybody just backs out of the house, and you just call in the airstrike on the house and level the freaking house. Because, you know, if somebody has time to get in position, you can't do nothing with them other than level the freaking house, like Chili said, set the dang thing on fire, or freaking toss a grenade in there, and that usually takes the whole house down anyways. I don't know if y'all probably never thrown a grenade. Those things make a terrible explosion. You throw a grenade in a house, it's going to collapse the roof. I mean, it ain't just like a little pop, you know. So,
Right.
It ain't like an M80 or nothing.
no,
Pop.
it's going to bring the roof down for sure. So that's what you do if you think somebody's in your house, buddy.
Claim it on insurance.
Control demo it. Heard
For
that.
sure.
Bring it down.
I like this question. John Reddick wants to know, what are your top 3 pieces of outdoor gear that you've ever owned?
Man, I saw that.
That's a good
I
question.
was thinking about that too. Have you thought about that at all, Blake?
No, just
Man.
when I saw it there.
When you start going to them top, you know, he said top 3,
Yeah.
right? All right. Probably one is going to be that bomb-proof outdoor research rain jacket you bought for us, Blake.
Yeah.
What is that thing called? I don't even remember.
I don't even know what model it is.
Now, John may not like it because it's a little heavy and a little bulky. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, when you're talking about outdoor gear, rain gear is one that you better not skimp on. Because when it's I'm telling you what, man, when it's raining and cold and you know you're going to be out there for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days, you would give, and you don't have the right rain gear, you would give $1,000 freaking dollars for a rain jacket because it gets miserable real quick. And there's a lot of crappy rain jackets out there, like a lot of crappy rain jackets.
Well,
They make
Frog
them.
Togs are one of the best.
Yeah, they make most of this rain gear, like, I mean, even outdoor research, this helium stuff and, you know, all this super lightweight stuff. Well, it ought to keep you dry if you're just going to walk to the freaking mailbox, you know, or if you're a runner, like, you can get away with one of them little helium rain jackets when you're running because you're not even really using it to keep you dry. You're just using it to trap body heat. You're wet when you're running anyways. But when you're out backpacking or bike packing or you're doing a long range movement, yeah, rain gear is huge. And that rain jacket Blake bought me a long time ago, that joker's been legit, man. I think it's like a crossover for I think you could use it for skiing too. I mean, it's heavy duty, but
Is
it's
that heavy?
It's pretty heavy, yeah.
Dang.
It's well worth the weight though. And rain gear not only will keep you dry, but you can obviously use it also as a hard shell if it gets windy and cold out to keep your body heat in, you know. So it's critical piece of gear.
What's number 2?
I don't know, man. I was thinking about my sleeping bag, but I can't put that Feather Friend sleeping bag on number 2. It's too bulky.
Well, a puff jacket's, I mean, I don't go about anywhere without a rain jacket or a puff jacket.
Yeah, I mean, but I haven't found a puff jacket that I like absolutely love.
Yeah.
You know, I got that Feathered Friends puff, but that daggone thing, man, it pretty much takes up half of a freaking 70-liter backpack. That's warm. Rain gear.
How do you bike? You mountain bike? That's outdoor gear.
Well, John has a nicer bike than me, so
Does he?
I can't. Yeah, I think he's got one of the titanium. He went out and bought. It may be a Lightspeed.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
that's a nice.
I couldn't bring myself to spend $5,000 on a bike though.
You ought to.
Of course, my man John, he's lawing folks. That joker go drop $5,000 on a bike. He's lawing folks. Second would probably be I talked about it on the podcast before. The best all-around shoe is the Salomon XA Pro. That's just been a staple for me. I've probably went through. I used to wear XA Pros when I was in the Navy. I mean, I've probably been through, I don't know, 50 pairs of those shoes. So just an all-around good shoe to wear in any environment, doing anything, would be the Salomon XA Pro. And then, shoot, man, I'm trying to think of something else. You ain't got nothing, Blake, that you really like? Oh, I'll go with a Hyperlight pack.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to
I'll
say.
go with a Hyperlight pack. That's been I've got 2 of them. I've been using Hyperlight packs for the last 6 years or so. And although I will say the quality of the Hyperlight pack did go down when they moved their manufacturing to Mexico. I have an original Hyperlight pack that was made in Maine, and that's the old one that I have. And, man, I have beat that son of a gun. There's no telling how many hours I have accumulated in that pack. And I have, my black one, I bought it after they moved their manufacturing. And, Blake, you have one made in Mexico, too, and it's the stitching.
No, it ain't either. Mine's made in USA.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Didn't you have some stitching come out in yours?
Yeah, the bar tack on that little piece on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that.
You can.
I'm going to have to check that. But, yeah, the Mexico ones, we've had a few little hiccups with those. But, yeah, that's top 3. John, you don't need to be asking me about gear, dude. John, I need to be asking you about gear. Mm-hmm. John, I follow you on Instagram just to see what dang gear you're using so I know what to buy.
He's got it figured out.
He has got it figured out, man. I mean, he buys the best of everything. Mm-hmm. He researches the crap out of it, too, I imagine. Surely he's not just getting lucky.
Here's a good one. Camper or RV?
I've been thinking about that because I thought about getting us one. Me and Corin were talking about that in the gym the other day. He said, if you buy one of those RVs, motorhomes, if that thing breaks down on the side of the road, not just anybody will work on one of those. Like, you might have to have it hauled to a RV shop, and that might be no telling how far from you. And just maintenance and stuff like that. I don't want to have to pay to maintain a whole nother vehicle. Oil changes, tie rods, tires, all the freaking crap that comes along with maintaining a vehicle. So I think CB talked me into just, if I get something, just getting a pull-behind camper. Yeah. And then also, too, man, I was thinking, if we drive this thing out to a hunt, we want to go hunting somewhere down south, we drive this big freaking RV down there. Once you set that thing up, you're there. You better have all the groceries you need. You better not need to just, drive down to the trailhead, or you're going to have to walk from there. That's or ride your bicycle from there, right? Yep. Unless you haul a whole nother dang car behind you, with that thing, and that's getting a little excessive for me. So, with the pull behind, we can just back it up in the woods right there, unhook it, set it up, and then we got the Land Cruiser to kind of go around, do what we need to do. So, yeah, I'm going to go with camper on that one.
Here's one from G. Hall. Dang it.
Blake.
Well, anyways, it's Robbie Hall's son, Grayson. But he said, do you have to speak in tongues to be considered saved?
Well,
there ain't very many people that saved, if so.
No.
Grayson, yeah, the shortest answer to that is no. Unfortunately, there are some people out there who have gotten pretty sidetracked on their theology, if you will call it. And they think that speaking in tongues is the only true evidence that you have been saved and received the Holy Spirit of Jesus Christ. And ask me how I know that, because I've known some of these people. And unfortunately, they are confused, and they are also confusing other people. And that's not good.
I think this is a good one. Gecko Life 2.0. He said, where's the balance in being prepared and trusting that the Lord will provide? I think a lot of people get confused and caught up in that when there's preparedness and preppers, but then they're also Christians, and I see that conflict too.
Yeah.
You got anything on that, Chili?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what people say. They say, if you prep, there's two sides of it. If you prep at all, so to speak, if you just think about being ready for certain situations, if you buy any guns or ammo, or if you think about, I don't know, maybe learning how to grow food and do essential tasks to be more self-sufficient, you're considered a psycho, and you just don't trust Jesus to provide. Why you even do any of that? And the other side of the coin is people that get so freaking caught up in it that their whole life is totally controlled by how much storable food they have.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. And he's asking for the balance. So yeah, the balance is somewhere in between those two. If you let anything control your life, including worried about the end and how much storable food you're growing up, well then everything you're worried about happening is already defeating you without having happened, because you're so consumed by it. And you're not living because of this thing that might happen that hasn't happened yet. So that's why you don't do that. So that's why the balance doesn't fall on that end. And then the other end of, you're not even trusting Jesus because you think about these things and you do try to make yourself more self-sufficient so you can provide for your family. Well, isn't that what we're asked to do? I was under the impression that we were asked to do those things, that we were asked not to sit idly by. And a part of what trusting Jesus means or looks like, in my opinion, is that you do those things not to take matters into your own hands and think that you're in control, but to say, no, I am not in control, but I've been given the opportunity to do these things and potentially make this situation better for me and my family and other people, to combat the evil that is in the world that is trying to come against me. That's how I see it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good, Chili. And the what's funny is, just tagging along with what Chili was saying, these things that we think of as prepping are just basic freaking human skills. Like how to acquire food, how to defend yourself, how to create shelter. Like, these are just basic freaking human skills. And we call it prepping because the lifestyle that we're all able to live, well, not all of us, but most of us here in America, the lifestyle that we're able to live doesn't require these basic human skills as a necessity anymore. But it's not prepping to know how to acquire food and freaking defend yourself and have the means to do so and all that good stuff. Human beings have been doing that stuff just to survive on the freaking earth since the beginning of human beings. So think of it that way, guy. You want to prep? To me, if you want to prep, it's acquiring those skills. It's not storing up a bunch of stuff. Like, it's acquiring the skills to be able to get that stuff. So that's my opinion on it.
Here's one from 14 Brave 14. They said, how do you best restart after falling off?
I don't know. What do you think, CB?
Falling off what? I mean, just keep going. Don't worry about it. If you fell off yesterday, you ain't fell off today. Just keep moving,
Yeah.
just roll with it, man.
I think people consider falling off is actually part of your life, and they consider falling off. It's like, oh no, I've got to start all over. But it's like, that's just another day in your life of living. And yeah, it happened, and it might have feels like maybe it set you back, but it actually didn't. But like you said, you
started the day you was born.
Yeah,
that was your start.
It's
you ain't never restarting.
The only restart I could think in life would be being saved.
Yeah,
and,
true.
And then you're born anew. But falling off of that doesn't require a restart. So if that's what he's talking about, then that's not it. That would just mean that you need to make a correction, but not that you have to restart. So I just thought that was interesting, the words that he used to restart after falling off. It kind of goes to Chili's thing he always talks about no finish line and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, and just because what did he say, fell off?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly what Corn said is what? Fell off of what? What does that mean? What did it look like? But just because you fall off of something that you were maybe trying to do or that doesn't mean that doesn't even mean that you took a step back. I mean, like restart what? Maybe you can take step backs but when you're moving along, trying to do something, it's not like it just ends because you fell off, so to speak. You're where you were, or you can be, and then you, quote unquote, start from there.
I mean, surely in that falling off, there was something that you learned from falling off, something that stretched you in some way that's going to make you even more capable.
Yeah,
going forward.
Yeah, man. What you jokers don't freaking you just can't accept it that your entire life is going to be a series of highs and lows. Sorry about your luck, man. You just can't freaking accept it. I know, man. Nobody wants to go through these low points, and you want your trajectory to always be continuously going upwards, and you want life to be easy. Nobody wants the struggle. Like, you just can't freaking get through your mind that that's just part of life, man. And yeah, we use this language like falling off. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think that's the language to use. I think it's just we can't accept that is the design of life on this earth is just ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And you don't want that. And you try to do everything you can to avoid that, but it's coming. Unfortunately for you, I say unfortunately, but life, I'll speak for myself. I would be pretty much a total piece of crap if it wasn't for the struggle that I've been through and that I even still currently go through today. So I say it's unfortunate that we go through these low periods repeatedly in our life, but in all reality, it's when you get out of them and you get on the other side of them, it's not an unfortunate occurrence. It's actually a good thing every single time.
And not to beat a dead horse here, but I like the illustration of if you graft it out, because maybe that word's analytical in tracking progress of things like running or even if you're lifting and arm wrestling. You want to track your progress, and if you track it, like say you track it every day, like, oh, I lifted this today, I ran this today. Well, if you look at how you were at the beginning of the year and the end, I mean, every time you really put in work and train and try to do something, you'll probably find that wherever you started at the beginning of the year and then at the end, you increased a ton. But if you graphed out what every day looked like, it'd feel like about just as many that went up went down.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have had 100, what was the word, falling off, Like days where you just decided not to train, or days where you went and it was just absolutely terrible. You felt weak as crap. And like, you don't graph something point to point. I mean, it would look like it never went anywhere. But if you draw the through line through it, the slope of it, if you will,
yeah,
it is linear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's generally up the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't look at it that way, because you can sit in the day to day and dwell in it and just focus. Like, you can take 3 steps forward, and then one day you take a step back. It's not even the way to look at it, but for the example, and then you focus on the step back, not the steps you've made forward. So that, I think, it always reminds me of weight loss. That stifles so many people. They lose 10 pounds, see that they gain a pound, they're done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, I just gained a pound. They don't realize that they're 9 down overall. They just focus on the pound that they're up from the day before. Not that they're 9 down from when they started. So you just can't let that stifle you in anything. And the way to not let it is to focus on the 9 that you're down. That replaces the immediacy of the one that you're up.
Yeah, and I think we should also add the caveat that this advice is only true for people who continue to genuinely try.
Yep.
None of this applies to any of you guys who have just accepted your fate.
Yep.
And you're basically the living dead. So
here's one that coincides sort of with what we was just talking about. TJ McCavin, if you could give any advice to a 23-year-old young husband and father here, what would it be?
You want to kick that off, CB? You're the oldest and wisest amongst us.
23-year-old me, dude, if you don't slow down, you are about to get hit in the face with the biggest ego baseball bat whatever lived. It ain't all about you. Chill out. That would be the biggest thing. It ain't about you. You got a wife. You got a family. You got a mother that needs you. It's not all about you. It ain't about what you want to do. It ain't about the hunting you want to do or the drinking you want to do. You need to be here now. You may not have it later.
Yeah, that's a good word, man. I would say I would tell myself it's never really going to get easier, life. So stop thinking, oh, when I get to this age, or when I get to this level, or when I get this amount of money, or when I get this car, or when I get to this house, or when I get to move to this state, or when I get to this place in my marriage, or what, like, stop, just take it day by day, man, because you're going to have good days, but no matter where you are, what your status is financially, physically, whatever, like, this, it's never really going to get, life is never going to be what you imagine it could be, you know, in your perfect mind. It's never going to get easier. And just accept that and just take every single day, day by day, and that's how you live your life, man. I would also say that things aren't going to happen, things that you want to happen or to achieve, things aren't going to happen as fast as you want them to happen. Pretty much never. The process or the path to get or achieve some goal, it's always going to take longer than you want it to take, than you thought it was going to take. And you just got to get over that, man, and just realize that that's part of being you're an impatient human. You want to be comfortable. You want to be free from stress and anxiety. You want to be free from worry. You know, all this stuff. And you can experience times like that. And you can achieve big things in life. And you can achieve your goals. But it's going to take longer to get there than you want it to take because you're an impatient human. So that's just two things I would tell myself. It wouldn't do any good though. It wouldn't do any good. You know, it's interesting. We think about if we could go back and give ourselves some advice, the young self, it don't do no good. It's stupid. I wouldn't have listened to that. You cannot understand things really unless you experience them. Like I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to help each other and encourage each other. Yeah, we should do that. And we should have mentors in our life, and we should try to steer each other in the right direction. That's all good. But like the realities of life, at least for me, as a young man, I had to experience it. I had to learn. And even now, to this day, there are things that I have to experience, that I have to learn, that you have to go through it because you have to feel it, man. You have to feel the weight of it. And when somebody just tells you something, there ain't no weight to it. But when you're going through it, man, it's heavy. And that's, you know, it's a burden. And that's how most of us have to learn, truly learn, if not all of us. When it comes to real life stuff, like, yeah, man, you could give me some advice on how to do my taxes better, and I could implement that immediately. But in terms of real life, you got to freaking feel it, man. And the harder you try, the harder you go, the more you're going to learn. Because the more you're going to feel, the more struggle you're going to have, the bigger your goals are and the more you want out of life, the more you're going to learn. Because that's how you learn, is through experience. The more mistakes you make, the more you're going to learn. That's the reality of it. But everybody wants to learn, like, everybody wants to have wisdom, but nobody wants to make a mistake. It's a strange dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all want to be wise, but nobody wants to screw anything up. Like, the best possible thing that you could do, man, is go for something that you're not good enough to achieve. That's what I did. That's what I did as a 19-year-old kid. I went for something that I wasn't good enough for. I just went for it. And I got through it. So maybe you could make a case that I, along the way, became good enough. But I can guarantee you one thing, when I started, I was nowhere near good enough to achieve what I set out to achieve. Like, not even in the freaking same zip code, man. But nobody wants to freaking do that, man. Why don't you want to do that? Because you don't want to screw something up. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to fall off. You don't want to be set back. You don't want that stuff, right? So you just die a freaking stupid idiot. You know, age doesn't imply wisdom. I've learned that in my life. I don't care if you're freaking 80 years old, man. It don't mean nothing to me. It don't mean nothing to me. My 2 cents on that. Good question, Cornbread. Finally, we're getting into some good stuff here.
That was a dig at me or what? But
Wow.
You have an answer for that? What advice you would give?
Yeah, I would say I would tell myself to kind of along the lines of Chad, of not being caught up in like trying to pay your bills off, not be trying to, like, those, you know, good things inherently, not be in a hurry to get married, to have kids, the things that are good. Just let them come when the time is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But being your age, Chili, when you hear older people like Chad and me and Blake say stuff like that, does it make you think? Do you think, well, yeah, I see myself doing that, or no, I got it all together, or you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny. I wasn't going to answer that question because I was 23 not that long ago.
Right. What year?
What year? But I actually have been sitting here thinking about the question the entire time, and it's funny that you asked that. It's also funny that you asked it because in my opinion, not to crap on Chad and Blake's answer, that's a good answer, and it would definitely pertain to more people than not. But I think what you said, like, it may not apply as specifically as what they said to the gentleman that asked that question. I don't know. Everybody's individual. But however, for me in my life, in my opinion, like, whoever wants to know that, anybody else wondering that's 23 or any age, go listen to what Cornbread said when he answered that and play it about 10 times. Maybe that's just me, but if you're anything like me, you need to hear, and like Chad said, it may not do any good, but you need to hear, it ain't all about you. And you need to hear it about 1,000 times.
Well, it took me 35 years to learn that.
Yeah.
I've heard it, but you have to understand why.
Golly, man, that's so weird. Both of y'all. Everything you said, the whole thing that's going through my mind is you have to know why.
Yeah.
That's why you have to experience it. Because if you're anything like me or you, and probably really everybody's got this in them to a degree, you can hear it, and sometimes hearing advice like you've been given from mentors will keep you from doing the thing that they said not to do. It might keep you from doing it, but you still, even if it keeps you from doing it, don't know why you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And we all have a deep desire to know why. It's like, hey, you shouldn't do this, man. Like, that's, if you get caught up in thinking that this will, make you happy, and once you get to this job, then that's going to, like you were talking, they may go, all right, I'm not going to do that, but you still don't know why. And ultimately that causes a lot of people to make the mistake, and then they know why.
Yep.
And then they go, okay, now I know why you shouldn't do this. Makes sense. It's just, I think that's what pulls you to we have these tendencies, and then we hear the advice, we believe the advice, we want to try to follow the advice, but we don't know why you have to do it. Because it seems like, if I did do this and I did get this amount of money and I did get this, then it'd be okay. Why would it not be? So let me find out.
Yeah.
And then you find out, and then you go, well, yep, they were right.
Yeah.
I always use the example of when I was running and overtraining so much, and everybody told me, this is what's going to happen. If you keep doing this, it ain't going to end well. It ain't going to end well. It's not going to end well. If you keep doing this, you're going to kill yourself. It's not going to end well. And I did not believe them. Actually, I fully believed them. I was thinking, yeah, I know you're right. I can see it happening. But I didn't, I wanted to know where the line was. I wanted to know why you couldn't just keep going like that. Why can't you?
Yeah, and then you have to experience the repercussions of it.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, the pain of the mistakes that you make, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, like those are like guardrail. The pain is almost like a guardrail. That's what the pain is. What guides you eventually into doing the right thing. But you gotta bump into those things. You gotta bump into them, and that's part of the reality of the fact that you have to experience things to learn them, because you gotta bump into those guardrails, and then you gotta feel what that pain that it's causing in your life. And we don't like pain.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, why I like Cornbread's answer to that too is I always like to get to the root to things if I can, and if you can follow the root of what Corn is saying, that it's not all about you, that will keep you from being tempted by those things that, well, if I get this, then I'll be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Because what is that phrase saying? If I get this, then I will be happy. If it ain't all about you, you ain't worried about that. You can't even go there in your head if it ain't all about you.
Right.
You don't even have the capacity to do it. It ain't all about you. So why are you worried about what you can get and what you can do and what you can have to make you happy? You don't freaking care. It ain't what it's about. So that's the root of it to me.
Yep. And that's a lifelong battle too.
Yep.
Would you enlist today if you were 18 again?
We always get those questions.
Yeah.
It's like every time we do a Q&A,
There's a lot on here about
I know, man.
military.
I saw that. There's a ton of young people. We always get this question, man. And look, I understand why you want to go into the military, because I was also young once and I wanted to go in the military because there's some awesome things about it. I understand that. So if I was 18 again, would I enlist if I was 18 right now? Well, the answer is probably yes. Yeah, I probably would, because I understand why. And I learned a lot during my time in the military. So, yeah, probably would. That's the answer.
It's interesting how that question is often phrased differently, because I think it's also asked sometimes, would you recommend it? And that's generally when you say, well, no.
Yeah, I don't recommend it.
But then it is a unique question to say, well, would you if you did it again and you were 18? And you're like, well, yeah, if I put myself back to when I was 18, yeah, I would. I mean, it makes sense. But that may be confusing to some because you wouldn't recommend it. So if you were 18 again, why would you do it? But that's what they're asking. If you were 18 again, would you do it? And it's like, yeah, I would.
Yeah. Yeah, and for a lot of reasons. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, it's joining the military is a grand adventure. I'll go ahead and tell you that much. It's a grand adventure. And you're gonna learn all sorts of stuff about different other people and about yourself and all sorts of different new skills and all this and that. Why I don't recommend it is obviously because, well, I think most of us have have woken up over the last few years to the absolute and utter corrupt freaking wickedness of the United States government. And so if you are serving now, you might want to be able to have a little discretion. I'll just say that. And that might cost you your career.
Mm-hmm.
This one's from JR100. And he said, who or what keeps you going? I think that's an interesting question. So I'll let you answer it.
All right, I'll answer this. Who or what keeps you going? This is a pertinent question to me because some things are going on in my life, and you know, I tell you guys sometimes that you know, I have these thoughts sometimes about just going away. Not like killing myself, like don't take it that way, but just saying poo-poo on all this stuff, man. Like I'm just gonna go away. Y'all ain't never gonna hear from me again. And so I because of And usually that stuff, those thoughts usually come during times of unforeseen difficulty in life. Like, you don't have those thoughts when everything's going good, obviously, and freaking the sun's out and everybody loves you and, you know, you're on top of the world. Well, you don't ever want that to end. But then, going back to like we said before, you can't stay there for very long. So then you have these other times, and these other times are what this guy's asking, what keeps you going? So I tell you guys that I have these thoughts about, like, you know what, man? Screw this, all of it. I'm just going to go hunt, take care of my own family. I ain't doing all this. I tell y'all that, and a lot of y'all, it pisses you off. Well, I don't give a crap if it freaking pisses you off, man. I tell you those things because I want you to know that there's no difference between me and you. Like, you might be having those same thoughts. You know what, man? Screw this job or this marriage or whatever. Like, a lot of y'all might be having those thoughts, and I want you to understand that that's something, again, that all people who are actually trying and who are actually doing things with their lives that aren't comfortable, that's thoughts that everyone has. So what keeps me going in those times? Well, one, you guys that listen and watch the show. That's one thing. You know, how in the world can I sit here for the last 3 or 4 years and talk to you guys about being mentally tough, about being hard when it gets hard, when life gets hard, stepping up to the plate, taking on the challenge? How can I sit here and talk to you guys about being selfless? How can I sit here and talk to you guys about don't die in the chair? How can I talk to you guys about all this stuff for all these years? And then when something happens in my own life, just decide to just, you know, go find something else to do. Like, that's not an option for me. Like, one of the worst things that you can intentionally do in life is to intentionally be a hypocrite. Like, we're all hypocrites in some way, shape, or form. It happens, but when you do it and you've got time to think about it and you don't just do it on accident, you don't just slip up. I mean, I can't do that. So you guys, a lot of you guys that watch and listen, you guys keep me going. I think about you guys. Like, what the crap did you think, 2 years ago when maybe you were going through a battle with cancer, or maybe you were going through some divorce, or maybe you were being abused, and you heard me say, don't give up, don't quit, don't die in the chair, and that meant something to you, and you decided to keep going. Like, I think about you. And so when I'm going through my struggles, I have to hold myself, I don't have to, but I want to hold myself to the same standard that I ask you to hold yourself to. All right? So that is huge for me. For today, for instance, obviously you might be able to tell I'm not in a jovial, joking mood today. But I'm going to show up for you guys because you guys have shown up for us for the last 5 years or however long it's been. And so I'm going to hold myself to the same standard I ask you to hold yourself to. I'm going to do my best to do that. My team keeps me going. I can't let my team down, right? 307 Project is bigger than me. It's you guys. It's my team here, Cornbread, Chili, Blake. I'm just a piece of that, right? And then obviously the foundation of it all is my faith. That's what keeps me going for sure. And I don't know that all of y'all can understand what that looks like. You know, I've reflected upon that quite a bit, talked about it on the podcast, talked about it on Resurrected. But Jesus tells us, in this world you will have tribulation. But you're going to be all right. I've overcome the world, right? He tells us that in spite of whatever we're going through in life, we can still find peace in him. And I understand that. And I believe that. And so that ultimately, you know, I think about all the time. I'll do a video or have a conversation about faith, and you have so, not so many, but you have quite a few people that want to make a joke out of your faith. And it's like, that's something I can't understand. Like, even if there are things that are hard for me to grasp about God and the Bible, and I'm like, if I give up on my faith, what else do I have? I have nothing. Like, I have no reason at all to do anything at that point. Because the only reason I care about you guys listening, and the only reason I care about my team, is because the goodness that I have received from the Holy Spirit. There ain't nothing good about me. Like, the only reason I can even care about y'all, the only reason that I can even care about being a hypocrite, the only reason that I can even care about any sort of standard or anything like that is because of my faith. Do you guys understand that? That's how everything's built off of that. And if you don't have that, I don't understand how you can have anything. Like, literally, what's the point? What's the point in not being a hypocrite? What's the point in caring for other people? What's the point in holding yourself to any sort of standard whatsoever? There's no freaking point. So everything's built off of my faith. Literally, every decision, everything that I do, every choice I make, that's the bedrock of it all. And that's why that there's nothing that you could ever say. There's nothing that man could ever come up with. There's no evidence that could ever cause me to abandon my faith. Because without it, I literally have nothing. Zero reason. Absolute hopelessness and despair and selfishness. That's all that would exist. So, in a way, kind of a tiered way, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. The reason I said I think it's interesting is because people, I don't think they actually sit down and think about that. And if they did, they might realize that what keeps them going is their job, or what keeps them going is, even maybe drinking. Like, they have these problems and they turn to alcohol, or they go to work, they have problems at home, and they look forward to going to work. And really, those are the things that are keeping them going. It's not, a lot of those people might even say that they're Christian or follow Jesus, and if someone asked them off the cuff, they'll say, "Oh, God keeps me going," and that's their answer. But really, when you sit down and think about it, you got to put yourself in the hard time that you're in and say, well, what is it actually that keeps me going? Is it these things I'm turning to that are prolonging my time here? And if those were taken away, then what would really keep me going, And so it's just interesting to actually think about that question for yourself.
Yeah, a good point, Blake.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll say too is I also think it's important to note, made me think when you mentioned all of the don't die in the chair, be hard when it gets hard, all of it is.
I thought you were asleep over there when I was.
No, I was thinking.
Okay.
When all of that is used typically voluntarily.
You talking about for voluntary suffering?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, he asked how to keep going, and I assume he didn't mean 100-mile race.
Oh, voluntary suffering is easy.
Yeah, well, I assume he was asking how you keep going in life.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
I would
here.
hope so.
But it's funny because how you most often see those things used is during voluntary suffering. Like you'll see someone run a 100-mile race, and they may say it back to themselves over and over again, and they're reminded of don't die in the chair when they come to an aid station, and they're sitting there and they want to quit, but they don't. But it just can't be stated how much more difficult it is when it's involuntary suffering, when it's life that happens.
The whole purpose of voluntary suffering is to build baseline habits.
Yeah.
It's to build baseline habits. But all of these concepts about don't die in the chair and be hard when it gets hard and never quit, like all of these are honed in involuntary suffering. Voluntary suffering, no matter how hard you make it on yourself, no matter if it's a 250-mile race or freaking SEAL training or whatever, all you're able to do in voluntary suffering is build baseline habits that then get really hardened and fine-tuned when life throws something at you that's unexpected and out of your control. That's just the reality of it. So I don't, maybe at times when I've, been through a season where I'm just being foolish, maybe I've considered myself tough because of the hard things that I've done. I'm sure I've been guilty of that without a doubt. But, the reality is I don't care what race you've ran. I don't care freaking what military training you've been through, all that. Like the measure of a man comes through in the situations where he's subject to a situation or a scenario that he can't step out of and that he's in for longer than he wants it to be in, or longer than he wants to be in it. And whether that's watching someone that you love suffer, or whether it's suffering yourself from some sort of physical or mental anguish or whatever, like that's the real test. That's the real measure of a man. It's not a freaking race. Not saying that you shouldn't go and do hard things, because you do want to build that baseline. Because if you don't at least build the baseline voluntarily, well, life's coming at you, buddy. And when it comes, you're probably going to fall completely apart.
Here's one. We'll give you a break and we'll let Chili talk.
Well, I've been talking too much anyway.
What is your belief in predestination? From B. Goebel, 199.
Well, if you think that was going to make me talk,
Chili, you should have said, "Oh wow."
I don't.
Right there.
There it is. Well, if you think that's going to make me talk, it's just going to make me ask more questions. I don't have an answer for that. Predestination, yeah. Done a lot of shows talking about it, talking about free will, talking about the sovereignty of God and how it's reconciled with the fact that he knows before you make a decision, and then you make a decision. So did he cause the decision, or did you cause it? And then how does free will work in that? Yeah, I don't know. Everyone wants to know the simple answer. Did God predestine you or not? I don't know. It sure does seem, and even the Bible says kind of some things are predestined, then it appears that others are not. How does that work in tandem with one another? I don't know.
Look, guy. Why do you want to know the answer to this question? Like,
that's a good. I've wanted to know it too, but asking yourself why you want to know it is a good question.
Yeah,
it's arguably the better question.
Yeah, that is the question. Why do you want to know the answer to this question? Why is it because if you thought you were sure about the answer to this question, would it make you feel special? Would it? What would it do for you? I mean, people been freaking asking this question for thousands of years. There are many books written on it, many great thinkers, and no one has come to the conclusion. And that's because the true answer to the question cannot fit within the freaking confines of your human mind. It just can't fit. You can't understand how two things can exist in conjunction with one another that seem opposing. You just can't understand that. Just like you can't understand how there is a being that could create time, space, and matter. Like, there are a lot of things that you can't understand, and this is one of them. And the consequences of you not understanding them have no bearing on the gospel of Jesus Christ and what saves you. So if you want the answer to this question just because you need something to think about and you know everything else, then keep studying. But you're never going to find the answer to the question because it can't fit within the confines of your human mind. I'm sorry that we think so highly of our intellect.
We do.
It's really a tragedy that mankind thinks so highly of his intellect. It's pretty mind-boggling to me why we, as humanity as a whole, think so highly of our own wit and our ability to think and understand things. We are nothing, man. Our intellect is freaking not even scratching the surface. But, a lot of you guys want to go ahead and, keep on trusting in the wisdom of man and in the science. You'll be good till you ain't.
I got a fasting, Blake. You can answer it. You can answer it. Maybe this will get Chad in a joking mood. What's the turkey scoreboard looking like?
Oh, gosh.
That's from A Appeal 24.
I saw that. I was avoiding that question, so I'm not going to answer.
Well, he's grinning a little bit now.
Well, you've been insubordinate.
Huh?
You've been insubordinate all week.
How you figure?
Because I sent out a message when you killed your first turkey and asked for what the daggone scores were, and you refused to divulge the scores.
Need I scroll back through the text and circle where you said that wasn't stated in the rules? Too late, Bubba.
Well, that is true. That is true. It wasn't outlined in the rules.
That wasn't stated in the rules.
I tell you, if you don't have a rule book as thick as this desk, someone's going to find some kind of rule that needs to be made.
Is that why the tax code is so
Yeah.
so convoluted, Blake?
So what does it look like, Corn?
Blake was going to answer.
Corn is winning.
Corn killed 2 Jakes.
Wowza.
They totaled
Corn's
up
winning.
1 point higher than the bird I killed.
And they weren't Jake's.
You just got to hope you can kill something else, huh?
Well, I knew if I beat him pre-eclipse, I had it won. He ain't going to kill no post-eclipse turkey.
You've already won.
That's true.
You've already won pre-eclipse.
Yeah.
Because there was 2 different.
No, there weren't 2 different competitions.
Well,
he's
it's not
just
in the
saying
rules.
that the turkey hunting's done after the eclipse.
Yeah.
No, there's 2 different competitions. There's
Yeah.
pre and post.
Yeah, you think things stayed the same after that eclipse?
A daggum civil war broke out.
Yeah. Cornbread had quite the weekend. It was a bloodbath.
Yeah, well, true that. Yeah.
One time it was.
We almost had to hold turkey court today, and Blake still has some allegations to be brought against him.
Yeah, and you're having a retrial.
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
That's true, because I appealed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appealed.
The date set for that is 3 days after 9/11,
Well,
September.
Blake has some significant charges to be brought against him.
Yeah.
I was going to press charges against Cornbread in turkey court, but he redeemed himself.
Yeah, since the charges didn't get pressed before I ended my competition, now
Right.
statute of limitations.
Yeah,
you're
picked that
done.
up. Yeah.
He's good.
Well, it actually didn't end because you killed 2 birds. It ended because the eclipse happened.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
eclipse. Yeah,
The eclipse did reset everything.
it did.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
That's why I don't have any charges.
Y'all
to be
could.
brought
No, you
against me.
don't. You could start a new competition now.
That freaking eclipse was a bloodbath, dude. Were
It
y'all
was
out
rough,
there? Were
wasn't
y'all
it?
out there in it?
I walked out there and looked out the door here.
You didn't stay out for long, did you?
No, I didn't.
Did it make y'all feel weird?
Oh,
You start
yeah.
feeling weird when it.
I've been feeling weird since Corpse Wood.
Did that reverse anything or enhance
No, I
it?
probably should have went out and got under its haze. Is what I should have done.
Yeah. Did you feel weird? Were you grounded then, Chad?
No, I actually started floating during the eclipse.
You didn't have them copper nail shoes on?
No, I didn't. I didn't have my grounding shoes on, and I literally started levitating during the eclipse.
He was walking up to the goat pen, and it was as if there was an imaginary staircase. He went right over the fence, and as it started to go away, he just went
It freaked the goats out.
settling back down to ground.
Yeah, the goats started going nuts.
You know that Corpse Wood portal went nuts during that eclipse.
yeah.
Do you know that?
I bet it was silly over there.
Dude,
You know they closed. Some schools was closed. Some places of business were closed.
Even the turkeys was closed.
Yeah, Turkey said, bump on this mess. This is ridiculous.
Well, I think multiple states had declared a state of emergency or something.
Are you serious?
That's what I've heard.
because the eclipse was happening?
Yeah.
Well, they should have.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if they didn't, they're dumb.
Yeah, did Georgia not?
We did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we declared an internal
Wait.
state of emergency.
What did they call that? Where you stay in your house?
Stay at home order?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we issued up here.
Yeah, 307 Project did.
Yeah.
That was rough. Thankfully, that ain't supposed to happen again for another 20 years,
Yeah.
at least here where we live.
That's what they say, but it just happened a few years ago.
They act like it's the rarest thing ever, and then they talk about, oh, well, yeah, but it's happening in 2025.
Yeah.
Get your glasses ready. Well, you acted like it wasn't going to happen for another 1,000 years.
You know what I thought about during the eclipse? I thought about the companies who decided to make those stupid freaking glasses.
Yeah, why didn't we?
And all right, I'm gonna be
smart.
all right. I'm gonna be mean for a minute.
Be mean.
All right,
Just get ticked off.
Again.
all of you guys
What's next?
that posted freaking pictures and videos of yourself with those stupid freaking glasses on, looking up at the daggone sky, you looked like a brain dead freaking retard. Look, I can't tolerate it.
It's wild, isn't it?
I mean, I scrolled through social media after that, and it was just picture after picture after picture with these people with these stupid paper glasses on, staring up at the freaking sky like a literal retard. What the crap is wrong with you, man? Like, do you not have any more freaking sense than that? Gosh, we are screwed, man.
It was a holiday, man. It was a spontaneous, unspontaneous holiday.
I just wish I could see that video clip of Donald Trump looking at the one in 2017 when I think they gave him glasses and he just held them in his hand and he stood up there and looked at it like this.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he stood there on the balcony of the White House and just looked at it for like a minute.
can't hurt his eyes.
And his aides were coming and tapping him on the shoulder, telling him to stop. And he just kept doing it and held them in his hand.
That's what I'm talking about,
That
son.
was my favorite clip ever from his. It was beautiful.
OG Eclipse viewer, son. Yeah, man. That was just. I just see these people just. Why? First of all, why would you post a picture of yourself in those stupid glasses, looking at the sky? Why would you do that? Like, what do you? Why would you freaking do that? Like, what's anybody getting from seeing that, other than seeing that you're just an idiot?
They want everybody to know they saw the
Holy
eclipse, man.
crap, man.
That's what they're.
It's off work.
Eclipse
Shut down.
big,
The
son.
eclipse was a bloodbath, dude.
I still feel a little bit weird
Yeah, well,
from that thing.
yeah, you think you feel weird. You didn't even freaking levitate.
It was a bloodbath in Fulton County. I'll tell you that.
I started going
Fulton
in the
County?
ground
What happened?
when it come about.
A bloodbath.
A bloodbath happened in Fulton County?
They started rolling basketballs out there during the eclipse.
Oh man, what in the world?
Did you see what happened when they did that?
That's a corn and chili hunt story. That's too long for the podcast.
I can't handle it, man. I can't. I just. Well, I can handle it. I'm done being mean to you guys. If you posted a video of yourself in your stupid eclipse glasses, that's okay.
What?
Someone must have did it. They said, "Why would you grow a 2-foot-long beard, look like a hobo?"
There's one.
He must have posted one.
He posted a picture of himself in eclipse
He
glasses.
sure did.
Just told on yourself.
You don't like pictures of like little babies with the Easter bunny and little babies with Santa
No,
Claus?
I hate
You
pictures
don't?
of babies.
What about a toddler with the
No.
Easter bunny?
No.
Man, bum,
What about a
man.
teenager?
What about just a picture period?
What about a senior citizen with the Easter bunny?
I like pictures of landscape and beautiful women.
Oh, Chad.
What? God made men to like pictures of beautiful women.
What about my foot on a turkey's neck?
No, I don't like that. It ticks me off.
He gets so mad when he gets those pictures, man.
No picture of the beard or the spurs or nothing.
Can't even really see the head.
It's because it was a Jake. I wouldn't take no pictures of them Jakes either.
Blake's got the picture. I showed him a video yesterday too. It's big over here, son. It's turkey country on this side of the table.
About 25 pounds.
Oh, I saw somebody asked in that thing about the decline of masculinity.
I was going to be my next question.
The decline-
Was it really?
masculinity.
What was the question?
It, not a question. It just says "Dying Masculinity in Today's Culture" by Caleb GRTZN.
That ain't a question.
Well, what'd you put on Instagram? What do you want us to talk
yeah,
about?
what do you want to discuss?
No.
Why is first of all, why is masculinity dying? What do you consider masculinity?
Well, that's one. Thank you. You sound like me. If you ask that question, nobody who wants that talked about or who talks about that could answer that.
Yeah.
Nobody. Not one of them. And some of them right here are thinking that they can. Well, go ahead and type it in the chat. And you can type something, you can type out some babble, but it ain't going to mean nothing because it never does. Nobody knows what that means. It sounds good. It sounds like something we need to work on. You're going to have to freaking define it, man.
How would you go about defining masculinity
I wouldn't.
if you had to?
I mean, what they're saying is they want people, namely men, to do right. That's what they're saying. Masculinity. What the crap are you talking about, man? That's why everybody's in a men's group.
Yeah.
I feel exactly how you do about it. It's ridiculous. You don't need a freaking men's group to do right as a male. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having a group that you do a Bible study with and say it's all men. That's not, but the fetishization of men's group and needing to get around other men and be vulnerable together and talk about your freaking feelings. That ain't what.
Don't get me started, Chili. Don't get me started.
That's what I'm talking about. And that crap's ridiculous, man. If you want a picture of what the decline of masculinity looks like, it looks like getting around in a men's group designed to sit around in circles and hold each other's hands and talk about your feelings and be vulnerable together. If the daggum word vulnerable ever comes out of your mouth in that setting, that's what the decline of it looks like. That's my definition. In case you were wondering, there's mine. It looks like that.
Chili got you on that one, boy.
look, I ain't coming at who asked the question. I mean, he's identified that there's a problem, right? Society is collapsing. But I just think the way we approach all of that and look at whatever masculinity is wrong, man. It's what's perpetuated it. You should look at what everybody should do to live right and to die to yourself.
You should also look at the specific roles set apart for man in Scripture. If you want to define masculinity, you should go to Scripture and do a deep study in every single Scripture that is put forth specific to man versus woman. And that's how you could define masculinity, in my opinion. So you better define it first. Somebody do that study and post it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And send me the link to it. I want to watch it. You want to know what a man, first of all, the reason you have to define it first is because, first of all, you have to know what role a man was designed to fulfill specifically. And many of those roles are going to be contrary to what you want them to be, unfortunately, for you and your opinions. So you would have to take an honest look at what God says about what man was created to do and be specifically.
Yeah, and then
that would be your definition.
And then also, when you get that definition from what the Bible says man is created to do, you also have to know what that looks like, because you can then find an example and say, oh, I'm supposed to be a provider. Well, okay, what does that look like then? Because you can just do whatever, have a job, or whatever you think approximates that or looks like that. That ain't what that's talking about, man. Mm-hmm. And that's part of what, if you want to do a YouTube study on it, should go into not only what, but then how.
Yeah.
Because you can easily delude yourself in thinking, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this. What am I doing wrong? I'm checking all the boxes. No.
I would say if you could sum it all up probably in the shortest sentence, what it looks like to be a man is to put yourself aside. You know, I just think of a specific verse pertaining to man in Scripture of how man is supposed to love his wife as Christ loved the church, which means you are completely putting yourself aside, your wants, your needs, your desires, even ultimately your life, in order to serve this helper that God created for you. That's what I'm saying. If you really went through and did a deep dive study on this, on what a man's supposed to be, it wouldn't be what you wanted it to be. It wouldn't be. Sorry. That's my opinion on it.
Well, that was kind of the extent of my questions that I found worth asking. Corn, did you have any more?
I think I got one more.
Corn can't stop the flop.
No, I can't. I cannot stop the flop.
Who said that? Freaking Michael Waddell?
It's on his hat, man.
He don't freaking hunt, man.
It's on Corn's hat.
Michael Waddell don't hunt, man. That joker's a bag of bones.
He's dead, ain't he?
John Warmouth, Paul? 92. How to encourage a friend that has seemingly turned from God because evil exists. My assumption being because evil's here, he's turned from God, saying that
the problem of evil, they call it.
That God shouldn't be allowing evil.
How could a perfect God allow evil to exist?
Yeah. That's my assumption.
Well, the Bible gives an explanation for why evil exists. Maybe you could start with kind of understanding that explanation and then explaining that to him. If you don't want to do that, well, And again, that would be trying to use logic to sway his thinking, which for some people might be an impossibility. So if that's an impossibility, then I highly recommend that you just continue to follow the Lord yourself and live it out in front of him. And eventually, if you're close to him, eventually there's going to be a time where he either decides what you're doing looks way better than what he's doing, or there's going to be a time where he probably is going to become so desperate and so hopeless that then hopefully he reaches out to you, and then you can use the logic of Scripture in order to change his thinking. Yeah. Ultimately, you're pretty powerless.
Well, I also have a question about that. With the problem of evil, would you consider darkness a created thing?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
would you consider evil a created thing? Because I look at even Genesis 1, and it doesn't say God created the light and the dark. It says God created the light, or let there be light, right?
Right.
So it's like, if God created light and darkness is a result of that or the absence thereof, and the same thing with good, creating good, and then evil being the absence, it's like, I don't even know that it was created in the way we look at creation and what was created and what was a result of the outflow of a perfect creator, a perfect God. So no one ever really talks about that, I think, when they talk about the problem of evil, because he asked it in a way that said evil exists and that keeps him from God. But wouldn't the problem be if evil was created unnecessarily? Right?
Right.
I think it would be. So if it was created unnecessarily, then there may be kind of an issue of like, well, why was that created? But if it wasn't even created, if good was created and that's a result of it, it's like it's the absence of it. Well, then it wasn't even created. And then if it wasn't created, then you don't have the conflict of how a perfect God created something evil. He didn't. I don't know. It's just what I've thought about it.
So therefore, be the light in the middle of it.
Yeah, right.
Doing good.
Right, and because good was created, what allows evil to happen then is you choosing to not do good.
Right.
Which is essentially what he's saying he's come down on.
Yeah.
Is that, well, evil exists, so I'm just going to not care, and I can't trust a God that...
So if you want to encourage him, do it because he ain't.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you... Have you ever asked the question, why didn't God just create mindless robots that had no idea of anything other than him? Like, why didn't he just create mindless robots? I don't know the answer to that, but he chose to create beings that could choose to love him in some certain sense. And for there to be any choice whatsoever, there has to be an opposite of the
But
good.
it still doesn't have to be a created thing in and of itself.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's the result of doing the opposite.
Yep. It's the result of creating beings that have intellect and choice. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell y'all, in the words of little Virgil, Splinter makes a good toothpick.
Holy crap, little Virgil.
Think about that.
Don't get it hung up in your gum.
Little Virgil is a dang philosopher, man.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
Little Virgil, you seriously need to write a book of just all one-liners.
It's really hard to even comprehend some of the stuff he says. Speaking about not understanding free will and the sovereignty of God, what did he just say? LV?
Splinter makes a good toothpick.
Hey, I bet little Virgil wasn't wearing them stupid Eclipse glasses.
No.
Guarantee you he
Go out
wasn't.
on a limb and say LV didn't participate.
No. Little Virgil's the smartest viewer that we have on YouTube. Hands down. No competition.
I wish we had actually talked to him, but we hadn't.
Yeah.
He's still a legend, though.
We love you, LV.
Well, we got some super chats here.
What you got, Blake?
We got ACS92 coming in at $1.99 with the Trump logo.
MAGA.
And then he comes back in at $1.99. Said Jesus for President 2024.
Oh. Okay.
Well, you know, there's a Trump Bible out, I heard.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
I've always liked the Trump flag that flies around a lot of places that says it has Jesus real bold on it and Trump underneath it, and it's this weird interwoven connection of the two that always creeps me out. But yeah, maybe he's I don't know. Trump 2024.
I believe the
2024.
Trump Bible has the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in it.
And the Old and New Testament.
Yeah.
And hopefully it has some Trump commentary.
Whoa. Whoa.
All right, Marty Bingham.
The Trump Study Bible.
He did say he knows the Bible more than anyone.
Of course he does.
He did say that. Maybe he does. I'd like to read his book.
Well, Marty Bingham's coming in at $49.99.
Good night,
He
Marty.
said, I
Marty?
can't watch you guys work so hard with a clear conscience without being a Patreon member and checking in once in a while with a super chat. Sincerely, if there's anything I can do to help you in any way, let me know.
We appreciate you, Marty. That means a lot to us, man.
Mark Stoddard coming in at $4.99. Great Resurrected 124 Sunday night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Marty Bingham coming back in at $49.99.
Good
Whoa.
night.
Said, even though y'all gave me PTSD, post-traumatic sneaky snake disorder, he still loves us.
Oh, that's my man, Marty.
Yeah, we didn't give it to him. You did.
That's overall, Marty.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see Marty on a ROP course, man.
He'd do well.
Yeah. I want to see Marty on a ROP course.
He would do well.
Chili Jr.'s back on. He's coming at $1.99. He said, Dad, when you coming back with the milk?
That's that Cajun chili pepper, boy.
Dad, when you coming back with the milk?
All right.
Holy crap. Thank you, Chili Jr.
Yeah, if you don't stop with those super chats, Chili Jr., well,
Chili Jr., man. Me and Chili need to do another call-in show. Maybe Chili Jr. will call in.
no, he
We
won't.
had Trey D coming in at $199.99.
Thank you, Trey.
What?
$199.99.
Way.
That's a little. That's insane.
He said, I ran across you old boys about a year ago. I was chest deep in trouble. Since that time, old washed Marine has turned his life around thanks to you. Thanks to you, I'm now a follower of Christ, a great husband and father.
Good grief, Trey.
Man, that's what it's all about, man. I wanna let you guys know something too. You know, I really appreciate the kind words like that when people, you know, mention something that one of us have said or some content we put out or something we've done that might have helped them, you know, turn their life around. But I just want to clear up how this actually works. So I want you to understand that the times in my life that I have tried to think up something on my own that I thought was going to sound good or that I thought was going to help somebody, it flops. And the reason for that is that's impossible for me to do. It's impossible for me to come up with whatever it is, whether it's a lesson on resurrected, whether it's an encouraging word, whether it's a loving word, whatever it may be. It's impossible for me. I'm telling you this honestly. It's impossible for me to come up with that. Any of us, as a matter of fact. Now, that might sound silly to you, but I had to learn this truth the hard way, because there were some years when I thought it was on me to say something that was worth hearing, and the burden of that I can't carry because I'm butting up against an impossibility. So I want you to understand, the truth is that if I or we have ever said anything that has helped you, it is because the Lord Jesus Christ gave us the ability to know it and say it. And I can't write out, I can't do it, man. And so if that happens, or if that has happened for you, I want you to praise the Lord for it. And I'm not trying to be humble here. I'm not trying to give you some false humility. I'm telling you this because I have experienced it. Like, it's for real. So I just wanted to let y'all know how that works. And I also want you to maybe that'll take some pressure off of you, especially some of the questions we answered. How do I change someone's mind about not believing in God? Or how do I change someone's mind about this or that? The answer is you can't. You can't do it. Like, that's such a foundational statement that is so hard to freaking accept. You can't do it.
We had B come in at $4.99.
I like B.
Any turkey hunting tips? Looking to start soon.
Location.
Yeah, shoot your shotgun so you don't freaking miss
Watch
twice in one day.
Watch out for the orbicals.
Location.
When you see a turkey and you're hunting with a buddy, when you gotta let him know that you see it.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta not just kind of say, "Hey, there's a turkey." No, you need to go, there he is. That way, what you do is you leave no room for doubt that your buddy knows he's there, knows where he's at, and you alert the turkey to know that he is in the presence of you.
Well,
You don't have to worry about missing.
Exactly.
Well,
Because
it actually calms the turkey down.
right.
Because when you do that, it fools the turkey, and the turkey's like, "Oh, phew, man, I thought there for a minute they was hunting me." But they can't be hunting me. No, I'm good. I'm just gonna walk on through here.
And I've tried it multiple ways, but the best you can do is you can tap your buddy. I call it the tapping point. You go,
Yeah.
and that point is real important because that their eyes hone in on a single object. So you put your finger out like that, and they hone in on the tip of your finger, and you go, "There he is."
I've even seen one come up and peck the end of somebody's finger when they
Ain't that wild?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the turkey takes a deep breath after that and says, "Whew,
Then you can shoot him.
thought it was about to get rough."
That's how you sneak attack him.
Wow.
Travis Van S coming in at $9.99. Have you guys ever struggled with worldview success with the podcast rather than God's view of success? If so, how did you combat it?
Yeah, you struggle with that. How do you combat it? Well, when you try to go with the world view success, as you put it, Travis, when you try to go that route, you realize it don't work. It ain't gonna work out for you. So then you just have to change direction and get back on track. So there's really no combating it. You just end up going the wrong direction and trying to do or say things that please the world. And if you're a child of God, he's gonna smack you real quick and say, "Oh yeah, that ain't working out for you, is it?"
Adam Wild coming in at $5. Please, everyone, read Philippians 1:21-25. To live is Christ. It may be better to be in heaven with God, but we remain for the sake of others.
Have y'all noticed of how many more people are open to talking about faith, like now than any time I can remember.
Yeah.
In my life, adult life.
Yeah.
Like, it's strange to me, man, because I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like there is becoming less and less lukewarm Christians. I feel like people are really just, I don't know, they're like not ashamed. They don't feel dumb about it. They don't care what people, they're not caring as much as what people think. They're not just doing it for show. I just think it's because, I definitely think it's because we're starting to realize how hopeless our situation is. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me. I did a video yesterday that it was a little Bible thing where I just talked about something in the Bible that was interesting. And I thought it would flop and, like, you know, you're expecting it to get a lot of negative feedback. It did great. It's like, I don't know, man. Things have changed. I hope they keep changing.
Sean Wright coming in at 10 pounds.
Dang, I like them pounds. Thank you, Sean.
Oh, well, I knew it. Your camera would go out. He said, question for Chili. Same as every week. When are you going to open up international shipping again so I can get me a couple of those dry bone shirts? Stop being a turd, boy. God bless y'all.
Dang, son.
Sean, I'll tell you what. You get a hold of Chili, let him know what you want, and we'll try to ship a package just to you.
I won't.
Get a hold of him, let him know what you need.
Pretty generous offer, Blake.
Somewhere in Texas coming in at $20. We all have bad days, baby.
True that.
Kiss face, bang, 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 heart.
Dang.
I didn't know y'all Texans had bad days. Thought there were only good days in Texas.
Garrett coming in at $49.99.
Garrett, man.
It's not about me. Thank you, Chad. You helped me find peace in discovering the biggest gift in my life, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Please keep going for those who, like me, didn't know Jesus. Praying for you. Love you, brother.
Man, that's what it's all about, Garrett. Praise the Lord for that, man. Y'all don't look, man. I'm telling y'all, I'm going to be here. I ain't going nowhere. But look, don't ever think too highly of me. Don't ever look like, I want to say, don't even look up to me. I'm just a person just like you are, man. I just haven't given up. All right? So if you think too highly of me, I'm telling you this because I will do something that will let you down. All right? So anything good that comes from me, praise the Lord for it. I'm just telling you. That's the way it's got to be.
Little Virgil coming in at $9.99.
Jeez.
Little Virgil. How much was that?
$9.99.
LV, that's what I'm thinking. LV dropping them big numbers in there, man. He usually about $1.99.
Them Hamiltons.
Travis Van S coming in at $1.99. Chili.
Thank you, Travis.
I appreciate you being vulnerable.
Welcome, Travis.
JB coming in at $4.99.
He got you, Chili.
I ain't in your men's group, Travis.
JV.
Don't invite me to that.
JB, yep.
JB, what's up, man?
TJ McLaughlin coming in at $9.99. Good luck keeping up with corn in the turkey game, Chad. Boy, it's on a mission. Love y'all. Route
right.
Team 002.
TJ ain't worried about cornbread, man.
And we got Muscled Up Runner Greer coming in at $9.99. God bless and love y'all.
Thank you, Muscled Up Runner.
JB coming back in at $1.99.
Dang.
In Chad we trust, he said.
Don't do that, JB. Do not do that.
Bearded Red Double Alt coming in at $10. As a kid, the church I was in gave a very weak image of God. As I have stated, started listening to you guys, I've come to realize the awesome power of God and the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. Thank you. And then he came in at $5 more, said, Chad, start listening to X-Ray Alpha, Matt Pronka, and Ben Stoger. They're excellent instructors for competition shooting. Then he come back in at $5 more. He said, Matt Pronka has a diverse background, which provides meaningful insight to competition shooting based on his prior job.
I'll check those out. Thank you for the recommendations, man, and thank you for your support. That's awesome, brother.
And the final one just came in, Chili Jr. at $1.99.
Dang,
he said,
son.
He said, Mom also said you're behind on child support.
Dang, Chili Jr.
Whoa.
Chili Jr. just making it all public, son.
That's going to go over well at home.
He ain't scared.
You got to get them lashings, boy. Oh, man, they're rolling in. Travis Van Ness, $1.99. What is a men's group, Chili? Define it.
I better not.
Clock and Floor coming in at $1.99. Chili looking rough today. Is he okay?
Yeah, Chili's doing outstanding, man.
HVY Boy coming in at $4.99. How did you bridge the financial gap from leaving team life to civilian life? Love what you do. Men being men.
Can we make that the new 3 of 7 tagline? 3 of 7, men being men. That's what we should do. You know
We're
what?
going to have to wrap it up on this, though, because everything's overheating, and so am I. It's getting hot in here.
Bridge the financial gap between the military and civilian life. I went out and bought a 4x8 trailer, a lawnmower, a blower, and a weed eater, and I made about $50,000 or $60,000 in my first year of cutting grass.
And you started being a man.
And if I would have kept cutting grass, I would probably have $1 million business by now after 5 years. Yeah, it's freaking easy to make money, man. Why do y'all think it's so hard to make money, man?
Tell them.
Y'all, I mean, so many people struggle so hard to just have enough money to just barely get by, and that's their whole life. Like, dude, just get out and hustle. Just hustle, man. That's all it takes.
Fan that camera, Chili.
Like,
T. Russell coming in at $20. God bless you guys.
Good night.
Chubbs coming in at $1.99.
Good night.
Blake's getting hot.
Man, it's hot in here, ain't it? Look how red corn is.
It is.
He ain't even white no more. He's
We
red.
got to do something about this freaking temperature in this thing, man.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. Nuff said.
Enough said.